In today's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to make this ruched blouse that has a drop shoulder with balloon sleeve detail. If this is something you would like to watch, do stay to the end. So here are the materials I'm going to be using for my tutorial. So for the top itself, I'm making use of this crepe fabric that is of medium thickness and it has just slight stretch. So I'm going to go ahead to draft the pattern as you can see. Now ensure that the pattern you are going to be using is on fold because we are going to be cutting out this blouse as one, as a whole. So first of all, I have what I want for my drop shoulder. Okay, that is what I used to determine the length of the pattern paper I need. And after that, I went ahead to insert my neck depth. In my case, I used 2 inches, just 2 inches for my neck depth. Okay, you don't want to do more than 2.5 or 3 inches if you're on the bigger side. After that, I went ahead to include my neck width. So for my neck width, I made use of 5 inches. Okay, and after that, I just went to the end of my pattern paper. So the length I used from my shoulder to my drop shoulder, in my case, I made use of 14 inches. So you can decide to do 16, you can decide to do less than that. And after that, I went down by 1.5 inches to create my slant line by connecting it down to my neck width. After that, I went ahead to impute my shoulder to my sleeve opening, which I used 9 inches in my case, then my shoulder to my waist measurement. So that's like my chest line, shoulder to chest line, then shoulder to waist line, as you can see. Now after doing that, I'm going to go ahead to impute my bust round measurement divided by 4. I added 1 inch or 1.5 inch rather for ease. After that, I also went to my waist. I imputed my waist measurement plus 1 inch, which is going to be for my dart. And on the lower end, I'm also going to go ahead to impute my hip round measurement divided by 4. Now, you can decide to add ease to this. This is totally up to you. So for I added 1 inch for ease. Okay, so I added 1 inch for ease. And I'm just going to go ahead to connect those points together as you can see me do. So this is what yours should look like depending on your body size. So after I've gone ahead to do that, I'm just going to go up from the end of my blouse length. I'm going to go up by 1.5 inches in order to create that slant line, okay, from the hip side, just to make the blouse look a bit more stylish. So after doing that, I'm going to go back to my chest line, and this time around, I'm going to go ahead to create my sleeve opening. Okay, so I'm using everything I have over there, and I'm just going to blend this into my chest line, as into my side, my sewing allowance rather, as you can see me do with my pattern master. Now the next thing I'm going to do from this point is to go ahead to indicate my dart point. So I'm using my bust band divided by 2, which is 4 inches in my case, and I'm going to go ahead to join these 2 points together, both on the hip and on the waistline, as you can see. I'm also going to go ahead to the top, and I'm going to come down from 1 inch from the chest line now, and I'm going to take 0.5 inches on both sides. Then I'll go ahead to connect it like so. This is to create my dart, and you might be wondering what we're going to use this dart for. In a short while, you are going to see what we're going to be doing with this dart. We are not sewing that on this particular blouse, but rather we are going to be transferring this dart to the shoulder point. Okay, so after doing this, I'm just going to go ahead now to cut the part I don't need again. Now I have what I want for my waist, I have what I want for my bust round and also my hip round. So you can decide to add ease. For me, I added 0.5 inches ease, but if you want yours to be very fitted, then you don't have to add as much ease, just like mine. The only issue is you might have to put a zipper at the side, at the other side, that is not ruched for you to be able to wear your clothes. But for me, there was no zipper, and that was why my outfits had ease. All right, so I've gone ahead to open up this pattern. I've gone ahead to cut the places I don't need. And what we're going to do right now, remember I said this our pattern is unfold. I'm just going ahead now to um, repeat what I did on the other side of this pattern paper so that we can understand clearly. So from this point now, the first thing I'm going to do is to alter this neckline. All right, you can see the way the neckline is, and it's just on one side. So what I did was to go in by 4 inches. You can decide to go in by 6 inches depending on how open you want yours to be, but I decided to do my as 4 inches. So this is going to be my new neckline as seen on that side. Then the next thing we're going to do now is to connect the shoulder points where you want to have your gathers, okay? And I'm going to be connecting this with a straight line, a slant line rather. I'm going to be connecting it to this particular place where I have my dart. All right, so after connecting like so, I'm just going to go ahead now to close my waist dart, okay? So first of all, to close my waist dart, I'm going to go ahead to cut these lines that is from the shoulder point that I just made. I'm going to cut those lines till I get to the point where I have my dart. And after doing that, I'm just going to go ahead to close my dart from the waist point, as you can see me do. So once you close your waist dart like this, what happens is that the lines that is on the upper part would open up on its own. So I'm just going to go ahead to tape this down so that it's going to be in place. I hope you get what I'm doing here. So after doing that, I'm just going to go ahead to tape this down. Then I'm going to repeat same thing for the other part of this front pattern. Now do note that both the front and the back pattern, I'm using the same pattern for both the front and the back. So now don't be worried if your pattern is not laying flat. Don't be worried, because you remember we just closed the dart, we just transfer a dart, and if you notice, the bust dart was not taken because this is more like a free top. So of course the pattern might not sit well when it's in paper like this. So after doing that, I went ahead to cut out my neckline. So this is the new neckline I'm going to be making use of. And after doing that, the next thing I'm going to do, right, is to create our ruch effect. But before then, remember to notch your center front. Your mid neck is really, really important. So I'm going to go ahead to create slash lines. Now, the number of slash lines depends on what you want. But for me, I'm just going to go ahead to create 3 to 4 slash lines. And I did not use any particular measurement. The only guide I did here was just to note from the parts where I was coming with the slash lines, I went up on that waistline by 1.5 inches, and from there I just created slash lines. I did not really measure this, okay? So as you can see, I'm going to be labeling these slash lines now. That's going to be 1, this is going to be 2, and this is going to be 3 and 4. So I'm going to be cutting through these lines, but I'm not going to cut at the end of these lines totally. So I'm going to cut. Remember that this is more like an added fullness technique, and this is a one-sided fullness technique we are using here. So I'm just going to cut very close to the tip, and this is what I have when I was done cutting my pattern. So now to the fabric, I folded my fabric into 2, and I went ahead to lay my pattern on it, and this is what it looks like. So the amount of spread depends totally on how full you want the ruche effect to be. So from the lower part, I used about 7 to 8 inches, and I kept reducing it as I went up. So for the second part, I used 6 inches, as you can see. Then the first layer, I used about 4 inches thereabouts. So you can decide to spread it equally, and you can decide to spread it with one side greater than the other. That is totally up to you, but for this particular tutorial, I did not spread equally. So after doing that, I went ahead to cut out this pattern on paper right now. okay, and I'm just going to go ahead to cut like so. On the shoulder region, I added 0.5 inches, which is going to be for my joining allowance. On the side, I did not add any joining allowance. Then on the lower part, I added about 2.5 inches. And after doing that, that's on the lower part, I added an extra 2.5 inches, and this is what my pattern looked like when I was done cutting. So on the parts that we transferred the dart to on the shoulder region, I'm going to be explaining some things to you. Now you can decide to gather this point back to your original shoulder, or you can decide to pleat. So in my case, I actually gathered this, so it means this particular shoulder is going to be longer than the original pattern. So in order for you to know how much you need to gather, just go ahead to join your cutout shoulder like so to have your full length. Mine was 10 inches, and what I have on my pattern right now, on my clothes rather, is 13 inches. So it means I need to gather it back to give me 10 inches. So after doing that, I'm going to be doing that, and I'm going to also go ahead to cut out the balloon sleeve. Now for the balloon sleeve, I just cut out my cloth on fold, okay, and for the wideness, for the length, I used about 18 inches, okay, because I'm going to be adding extra inches for folding and inserting my elastic, okay. And for the wideness, I used about 10 inches on fold. So if you want yours to be more voluminous, you can decide to add more. Then I went out to cut a strip of fabric that I'm going to be using in the casing period. So I just cut out 1.5 inches, and I'm just going to be folding like so, which I'm going to use to create that drawstring effect. So now I've gone ahead to join the front and the back together because I have to cut facing. So after going ahead to join, I also went ahead to gather that other shoulder, and now I've gathered it up to 10 inches on this place, okay. So after doing that, now I'm going to go ahead to insert the sleeve, yes, on the drop shoulder side. Now I'm going to be inserting the sleeve on both ends, and I'm going to be fixing my elastic on the sleeve based on my wrist measurement. So I'm going to be doing that also off camera. As you can see, just put the right side of the sleeve and the right side on the right side of the clothes, then go ahead to join it together. So after doing that, this is what I have. This is what the side look like. And on this side now, I'm going to be creating my casing. First of all, I'm going to go ahead to mark out my seam allowance of 1.5 inches that I added. So I'm going to be using this to create a casing from the waist region on that side. So make sure you notch your waist region. And after doing that, this is what the casing look like. I'm just going to fold and fold again. I'm going to go ahead to start inserting my strip that I created. So I'm going to go ahead to keep inserting with a safety pin until I get to that point where I have my opening. Remember I said I started from the waist region. So I'm going to go ahead to insert the second strip on the other side of the casing. So after doing that, I'll make sure that I'm able to pull out the two strips from the opening I have on that waist region. Please do note that this is the wrong side of the fabric. So now I've gone ahead to pin this down. Then I'm going to be going to the right side, okay? And I'll go ahead to top stitch. I'm going to go ahead to top stitch that side, okay? Top stitch that side. And after top stitching that side, now I'm going to be passing this rope. I'm going to be passing it to the right side. And in order to do that, I'm going to go ahead with my scissors to create just a little hole. So I'm just going to be creating a little hole. Please don't cut through this casing like in a big way. It might not really make your work come out well, okay. And at the same time, you can go ahead if you have a zigzag stitch just to stitch around that point once you are done removing your rope. So I'm just going to go ahead, as you can see, to remove my rope. And after removing my rope, this is what I have. So I'm going to be folding that lower part now. I'm going to hem that lower part, and the other side I've gone ahead to join it. After joining, I'll make sure I notch. Please make sure you notch properly so that your outfit can sit well on you, it can relax when you are wearing it. So that is just it for this tutorial, and this is what I have when I was done joining all my pieces together. I really love this stuff, and this is something stylish, and if you're also into ready to wear, I tell you, this is something you can easily make, and it is quite versatile for ladies. So let me know what you think about this particular tutorial. I would love to read your comments. So this is what the ruch effect looked like when I removed it. So you can decide to untie it, and after ruching it back, this is what it looks like. So thank you for watching this tutorial. Please, if you watch up to this point and you enjoy this tutorial, don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you are yet to be subscribed to the channel, and give us a like so others can see this video.